Hi, I'm Colleen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is part of a series on executive functioning. Today I'm going to talk about emotional regulation, and we'll be talking about how to use the 5-point scale to help you. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. So let's get started. What is emotional regulation? That's a good question. That means that you recognize your emotions and you are able to choose an appropriate response to those emotions based on the situation that you're in. That's a really difficult thing for a lot of people to do. Even adults struggle with that. But you can learn some strategies to help you, and you can practice walking through the thought process so that you can be successful with this type of thinking. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you recognize that you might need some help with regulating your emotions, or maybe somebody you love has recommended that you watch this video. I hope that you take a moment with me today and feel more confident about being able to regulate your own emotions. So let's talk about why it's important to regulate your emotions. And let's think about why you in particular might be a person who needs some strategies for regulating your emotions. If your response to situations is out of control, if you are not able to react appropriately to situations, it's going to be very difficult for you to work with groups. It'll be very difficult for you to get anything done. It'll help you to be able to be productive with your homework. It'll help you in a job, because there will be situations where you feel big emotions and you can't do something about those emotions in the moment. So today we're going to learn about using the 5-point scale to determine how big the problem is, and then we'll talk about what that means for your response. We'll also discuss ways that you can recognize your emotions so that you can use the 5-point scale to help you. If your situation is a level 1, that means it is very small. It's something that you do not need to do anything about. If your situation is a level 2, it's something you need to address. If your situation is a level 3, that's something that you'll need help from an adult to take care of. If your situation is a level 4, that means that you are experiencing an emergency. If you are a level 5, that means it's a natural disaster and you need to get help right away. Most things that you experience during your days will be a 1, 2, or 3. Very rarely are you going to experience a 4 or a 5. Keep that in mind. So, if you are at a level 1, you are not going to have any kind of response to it. If you are at a level 2, you are going to calmly address this. This would be you calmly saying to the person kicking your chair, please stop. Because you're feeling annoyed, because it's bothering you enough that you need to do something about it. If you're at a level 3 and you need to get help, this is a reaction like feeling sad or feeling upset. You might complain to somebody, but you're not out of control. You are still staying calm, but you might feel upset about it. A level 4, in an emergency like that, I would expect to see crying. I would expect to see you asking for help. There would be a sense of urgency. A level 4 means you need to take care of it right away. And a level 5, you might actually be panicked. You might be scared. You are really, really upset if you are at a level 5. Although the 5-point scale is a great tool, if you don't recognize your emotions, then you're not going to be able to use it. So let's back up a little bit. So before you even use the 5-point scale, you need to understand that your response to a situation has 2 parts. One is the emotion. Your emotions are yours. It's okay for you to feel any of your feelings. Your emotions are valid. They count. And that's okay. But the second part of your response is the action that you take. Now, this is the part where you really need to think about what the appropriate action is. How do you recognize what your emotions are? One way to recognize your emotion is to think about how your body feels in that moment. So let's think about some of the things that might happen to your body if you're feeling a particular emotion. Let's think about anger or frustration, because a lot of the times you have the same kind of feelings in your body when you have both of those emotions. If you are angry or frustrated, some of the signs might be that your face gets red and hot, that you feel butterflies in your stomach, or you feel sick to your stomach. Something doesn't feel right in your stomach. You start to cry. I cry a lot when I'm angry. And I know a lot of people think that crying is only for when you're sad, but really a lot of times people cry when they're angry. Your eyes might start to burn. Maybe you don't start to cry at all, but your eyes might burn. You might notice that you're breathing much faster. You're taking really short, quick breaths. You'll possibly feel your shoulders tense up on you. You might feel your heart beat really, really fast in your chest, like it feels like it's going to jump out of your chest. You could get a headache from being angry, or you might just feel hot all over your body. Any of those feelings can be an indication that you're feeling angry. We'll talk about what to do about that in just a moment. Let's think about the physical symptoms of being sad. Being sad often involves crying. Not always, but a lot of people will cry when they're sad. Usually when you're sad, you feel like not being with other people. You just want to get away from everybody and you want to be alone. Also, you might feel sad if you move very slowly. So those are some indications that you might be feeling sad. One last emotion I want to talk about is being excited or happy. And that emotion might come along with you smiling really big or feeling kind of jumpy, like there's a lot of energy in your body and you just can't contain it. You might have a fast heartbeat from that as well because you're so excited about it. Or maybe you talk really loud and really, really, really fast because you have so much to tell everybody. Or you might really want to share with everybody what you're so happy or excited about. A lot of times excitement is hard to contain because you are filled all the way to the top with it and you want to share your experience with everybody so they feel as good as you feel. Okay, so now that we've identified a few different kinds of emotions and the physical symptoms that you feel, let's think about what you can do about them. So let's say you identify that you feel angry. We have to think about what response, what action is going to be appropriate. So if you are angry at your teacher, What are some actions that might be acceptable? If you feel angry at school, you might need to do a few different things. Seeing an adult who can help you process your anger and help you come up with a plan is a really good idea if you're feeling your emotion that much. You can send an email to the teacher. So that means that you're going to take a step back and you're going to have the opportunity to really think through how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and what you want to do about it. Make sure that you have an adult or a friend read the email before you hit send. You always want your communication to be respectful, but also you want it to communicate your emotion and what you want to do about it. You could also talk to a friend at another time about it. Another idea is to maybe take a deep breath. I know breathing sounds simple, and I know it can be annoying when somebody tells you to do that, but really, as an adult, that is something I do when I feel very angry. Sometimes I take a deep breath and I count to 10 or 20 or however high I need to count in order to calm down. You can do the same thing. So let's think about some appropriate reactions if you're feeling super excited or happy. Now, if you're in the middle of your class at school, you can be very excited without touching other people and without disrupting the class. You might need to take a deep breath again and count down. Or you might doodle on a piece of paper. You need to think about small things that you can do in the moment until there is an actual appropriate time for you to act excited, to jump around and say excited things and get your friends all excited too. So let's say you feel sad. What are some appropriate actions that you could take when you're feeling sad? Well, if you're feeling just a little bit sad, you could take a moment to yourself. Maybe you put your head down for a few moments. Maybe you draw a picture. Maybe you daydream a little bit. It's okay to do that. If you're feeling very, very sad, you might need to go talk to an adult. So all of this thinking I'm asking you to do is thinking about your own thinking. This is a really difficult skill, even for adults, but I'm confident you can learn how to do it. So if you can think about your own thinking, then you will be able to make better choices about how you react to situations. And you will be able to label your situations better. So let's practice this skill. We're going to take it very slow because I want you to think through it all now. And then when you're in the moment, you won't have to move as slowly. So let's take a memory. Think about a moment when you had an emotion, a big emotion, something that might be really noticeable to everybody else. I want you to think about what that emotion was. So what were some of the physical things that you were experiencing in that moment? Let's think about how big that situation was. Remember your 5-point scale. Is it something you could ignore? Is it something you need to address? Is it something you need help addressing? Was it an emergency situation or was it a disaster? Okay, now you've identified how big the problem is. Let's identify some solutions. What would be an appropriate response? Okay, so you've gone through the whole thought process from thinking about your emotion to deciding how big the problem is to deciding what the appropriate action is for you to take. I hope this helps you when you're in a moment of having a very big emotion, and it helps you decide what the appropriate response would be for that moment. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you think somebody else might enjoy this video too, please share it. I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing, and if you ring the bell, you'll be notified of all my future uploads. I hope to see you again sometime in another video. Bye now.